Well, welcome back to another episode of Unpacking Dieselpunk. I am your host, Tony Snipes, and you may know me from the Portsmouth AEROSHIP Building Company. We are back here again to entertain your questions that you have about the genre that we love so much, which is dieselpunk. And the questions that we're going to tackle today are going to be related to film and our favorite movies that are dieselpunk movies. This is based on a post that I did about a week ago, and many of you are familiar with it, when I asked the question, do you think dieselpunk movies have a tendency to be low rated? And I got a lot of good feedback from you guys. I mean, you guys felt passionate about that, even the question itself, where you did give me a great list of movies that you felt were, well, firstly, they were dieselpunk movies, and they were good quality movies. I posted that question because I saw another post that just kind of takes some of the movies that we know are truly dieselpunk movies, and they define the genre for us, but they have a tendency to be on the B movie list, or at least that's what I've seen. But you guys weren't hearing it, and you gave me a good list of movies that were dieselpunk movies that you feel are great quality. So my question is, I want to just ask you guys, and I've got a little mini list here of movies that we feel are good dieselpunk movies that we've seen at least in the last 10 years. I posed that question because a lot of the feedback that you guys gave me about good quality dieselpunk movies, a lot of those movies had been, started back in the 90s and maybe in the 10s. So I really was longing for, and I'm sure you are as well, longing for more dieselpunk movies of the genre that we love. Just coming out more in recent years. So got a small handful of at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that have been out in the last 5 years. Want to hear back from you guys, see what you feel are some of your favorites that may not even be on my list here. But before we do that, I want to always just share with you at least a definition of dieselpunk that I now gravitate towards, that kind of helps at least set my foundation for what I consider dieselpunk, and maybe you feel the same or differently. But I consider dieselpunk, or at least the definition that I favor, says that dieselpunk is a method of creativity that combines the historic style of the mid-1910s to the mid-1950s with elements of sci-fi, fantasy, and even horror. So that's that definition that I base a lot of things on when I say that something does fit within that dieselpunk genre. And hope to hear your feedback on that as well. So let's get right at it with some movies that, I'm going to share with you this list of 5 movies that are dieselpunk movies that have at least come out within the last 10 years. Want to hear back from you in the comments, some of the ones that may not be on this list. And before we wrap for this episode, I have kind of did a little digging, and I found what seems like it's going to be an awesome, hopefully, dieselpunk movie that's coming out actually later on this year. So stay tuned for that. So the one of the top 5, at least one of my favorites that you've heard me say before, is Captain America: The First Avenger. Love that movie. Not only for the action, not only because it being one of the early MCU movies, but especially because of it defining, at least to me, the genre of dieselpunk, especially in film, where it takes place during World War II. It has the look and the feel of all of that, but it's got that twist with, especially kind of like the sci-fi that comes along with a superhero movie. So I love that as not only a great movie, but one that really helps define the genre for us. So that's Captain America: The First Avenger, and that came out in 2011. Also, another movie that came out in 2011, and many folks use this film to kind of help define to others the dieselpunk genre, the movie Sucker Punch. Now, I will be honest with you. I did not see Sucker Punch until I heard from you guys that you felt that it is one that helps define the genre, when I watch the movie, I get it. I see the aesthetic, I see the elements in there as far as it, having that look and feel from the era. Not one of my favorite movies, y'all. And to be honest with you, my main reason for it not being one of my favorites, I mean, the look of the movie and everything looks great. Just seems like one long running commercial for a video game, at least to me. That's my thoughts. So share your thoughts here on the comment. Take it easy on me, but post your comments here on what you feel about Sucker Punch. But that is a movie that kind of helps define our genre, and it came out in 2011. 2012 is a movie that helps to define our genre as well too. Iron Sky. I will be honest with you. Now, I did not see Iron Sky yet. I have to see it because it is one that you folks have given me feedback that you say helps define the genre. I've seen trailers of it, clips of it, and I do get it. Actually, what I've seen with the trailers and especially the CGI and the special effects looks great, looks awesome. I don't know about the story. I want to hear from you guys that have especially seen it. Definitely feel free to give me your thoughts on the storyline itself. Looking up on Rotten Tomatoes, it gets about a 40% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So again, that's one of those that kind of led me to ask you that question with that other post. Do we feel that DIESELPUNK movies have a tendency to be low rate? That's one of the ones I was thinking of. I can't judge it fairly, of course, because I haven't seen it yet. So that's where I'm relying on you guys and your comments. So share what you can about Iron Sky. I know some of you love it, some of you may not love it as much, but I want to hear from you what you think about it, because that is at least one that we've had, or another one that we've had, that's come out within the last 10 years. That came out in 2012. Now, fast forwarding a little bit to 2018, because there hasn't been, at least in our genre of DIESELPUNK, they're few and far between. But 2018 gives us, and this is good for this season that we're in now. If you're watching this in October, where I've posted this, Overlord, which is a World War II horror movie. Got some great action, especially in the beginning of the film. Many of you that have seen it, I'm sure you agree that it starts off with real cool World War II combat feel to it, and then it really starts getting dark and turns into good old classic horror movie with kind of like that zombie kind of feel to it. But it is action packed, and it is one that it's not going to win any Academy Awards. But it is a good movie to me, and especially this time of year with it being October during the Halloween season. So that is Overlord, and that came out in 2018. The last one that I have, again, since we don't have a whole lot to choose from, at least from what I've seen, but within the last 10 years, the last one that I have on this list here came out in 2020, and some of you have seen that. It is Shadow in the Clouds with Chloe Grace Moretz, and that got I'm not gonna say it got mixed reviews. It was 78% rated on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, movies like that, I see why it got mixed reviews, because it seemed like it was trying to do a couple things in there, mixed up, between it being a World War II movie and horror. I think they did a kind of good blend on it. The only things that I really didn't like in it is just some of the action was a little over the top. But again, what can one expect with some movies like that? But I was entertained, and that was in 2020. If you haven't seen it, it will be another one that will be cool to kind of watch this time of year for the Halloween season. And that is Shadow in the Clouds. Now, you guys tell me what I missed, especially if you feel that it is not only a DIESELPUNK movie, one that defines the genre, but especially that has come out within the last 10 years, and one that you feel that is quality. Not just because it's the genre itself and it's like, it's DIESELPUNK, so let's watch it, but one that you feel like that it is entertaining and is quality. So share that in the comments here, because I love to hear what you guys share with your feedback. And on that note of feedback, not only sharing your posts or some of the things that you see here in your comments. But if you also lend us a question so that we can use it in an upcoming episode, then you will be in the running for my latest print that has come out. This is the Aerial Commando. And I'm about to have this released for sale in the next couple of weeks. But those of you that post a comment will be in the running for getting free signed copies of this. And this is one that I really feel good about. I worked on it for quite some time because I took my time with it. And when I start posting it, I got great feedback from you guys where you said that you enjoyed what you've seen so far. So I'm really getting ready to release this, and make this available to everyone. So before we wrap, I do have another question. Actually, at the end of this, I'm going to share with you at least a cool DIESELPUNK movie that is coming this year. So stay tuned for that. But I do have a question that came out from you. And the question is, I can't find the name of the person that sent this question. But if you know who you are out there, raise your hand and let me know that this is your question. But the question says, okay, that's exactly what it says. It says, okay, for some Portsmouth AEROSHIP Building Company lore, which is where I come from, the Portsmouth AEROSHIP Building Company. They asked the question, is this facility related to the Norfolk Naval Shipyard that actually is in Portsmouth, Virginia? Or is it a separate entity? Does the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard have a similar yard? And so, yes, the question does ask there is a place. My hometown is Portsmouth, Virginia. And there is a place in Portsmouth that's called the Norfolk Naval Shipyard. That all of this that I'm doing with the Portsmouth AEROSHIP Building Company is actually based on the real Norfolk Naval Shipyard that actually is in Portsmouth. There's a twist in the name there. It actually, way back in the day, it used to be called the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, but they named it Norfolk because of the neighboring city, because there is another shipyard in Portsmouth. Is that New Hampshire? Portsmouth, I think it's up. I know it's up north, but it's another shipyard. It's also called Portsmouth, and so they changed the name of the one that's in Portsmouth that is in my hometown to Norfolk. But the answer to your question is that there is a real shipyard that all of this is based on. And so in what I've created with the Portsmouth AEROSHIP Building Company, it is an alternate timeline version of the real Norfolk Naval Shipyard / Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. That is a real place that's in Portsmouth, Virginia, the real place that I come from, my hometown. And why it's so dear to me is because I've had so many family members that have worked there, that currently work there. In fact, my grandfather retired from the shipyard. That actually is a real place that this is based off of. I've got a nephew now. Nephew, you're probably watching this. Hope you're watching this. He works there now. I've got cousins that work there. So family that have come and gone through there. So I've got roots with this place that it's really based on. And so the Portsmouth AEROSHIP Building Company is an alternate timeline version of the real naval shipyard in my hometown of Portsmouth, Virginia. So great question there, and I hope that raise your hand because I don't have your name here, but raise your hand of whoever you are that asked that question. But thank you for posting that. So now, as we wrap, I want to share with you what I came across as an upcoming DIESELPUNK movie that hopefully all of us are going to love. It is called, some of you are familiar with this already because you may have seen the trailers. It is called The King's Man, and it's coming out, scheduled to come out December of this year. In fact, December 22nd of this year, and it's starring Ralph. Is it pronounced Ralph Fiennes or Ralph Fiennes? But many of you know the actor, but he's starring in this, and it is a World War I era prequel to the Kingsman series of films. So from what I've seen with the trailers so far, it looks really exciting. The plot is, there is a collection of history's worst tyrants and masterminds, and they plot a war to wipe out millions and only one man and his protege must race against time to stop them. So sounds like it's exciting from what I've seen in the trailer so far. The look and feel looks great. It is based during the World War I era, and I'm sure it's going to have that twist of just maybe some, little bit of sci-fi, or maybe some things that that don't really exist in that time frame that will wow us, that are the DIESELPUNK fans. So we're looking forward to it. And if you know any more about it, post the comments here and share. And if you know of any other DIESELPUNK themed films that are coming out within the next year or so as well, share them here also. So as I get ready to wrap, I want to thank you guys for hanging with me for a while here. If you haven't seen any of the other episodes, check those out as well. I've got one more episode that we're going to do for this season. And based on what we do with these 8, it's going to be a total of 8 episodes. We will do another season if you want us to. If you are enjoying what you're seeing here, if you're picking up what I'm putting down with what we're doing with these episodes, then we will do it again. And if this was a great run, but you got your feel and you're satisfied, then we'll leave it at that. So I'm going to base it all on what you guys think. And again, share your questions. If you share your questions, you will be in the running for your free 11x17 printed on quality hard paper. Your version of this will be yours if you post a question or a comment. And this is the Aerial Commando. So thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next and final episode. Take care.